Shauna Boyle in the M3 against Adrian Cardenas in the RX8. Sean with a 32.2 dial-in, Adrian on the right with a 32.7, so about a half-second spread between the two, so one light difference, if you will. So we'll see those folks up in just a moment. They weren't expected to be the first pair, so it took them a moment to get their helmets on. The cars warmed up. So we'll see Sean coming up on the left side in that beautiful white M3. Adrian on the right side in the silver gray RX8. And giving them just a moment as they were expecting to be the second pair, so they'll be up here momentarily. All right, just got the signal. They're on their way. They've got the wave to come on up. Again, Adrian Cardenas, winner of C Street, up on the right side with a 32.709. Shauna Boyle from F Street in the M3, something new for F Street, the 32.243. So starter whenever they're staged, we're ready to go. About a one light difference there, a 720 reaction for Adrian on the right side, a good 583 on the left for Shauna Boyle in that F Street BMW. Again, the spread between the two is, again, that half second, one light difference. So pretty close to equal as they get to the top of the 180. Looks like Sean is already pulled slightly ahead. It's easier to tell when they get to the deep cut-in. That looks actually like Adrian had the advantage at that point. Coming down through the slalom into the finish line, Adrian back first by a slim 65 thousandths of a second. 65 thousandths spread now between him, with Adrian having that very slim lead as they swap sides. Alrighty, Adrian getting away with an 8:64 reaction time. That's a little leisurely when you're down to this kind of margins. 6:65 for Shauna Boyle, so effectively a 2/10 advantage now, because that last round was almost equal. Get to the top of the 180, Adrian a little bit more of an advantage this time. So he gets to the cutting. Boyle got to that first and into the slalom first, so he gets out into the finish line. And it is Adrian Cardenas by a 10th, as he had a little bit of a lead and cut back up. So Adrian Cardenas will take that one by .108. A tenth of a second win for the RX8, as he got it spooled up and running good coming out of that last cone in the slalom. All right, up at the line, we got Steve Ublinas from BSB with a 29.847 dial-in. Chris Cox on the right from F Street with a 32.243. Starter, we're good to go. All right, whole shots, 6:46 for Steve Ublinas. Chris Cox with a really good 5:84. 5:84 for Chris Cox in the new generation Mustang. And Chris definitely with the advantage at the exit of the 180 and into the deep offset. Gets to the slalom first by a couple of car lengths. Into the finish area, right side's back first by almost 2/10, .185 advantage for Chris Cox. Coming around now to the left side, but a 185 advantage right now for Chris Cox as Steve Ublinas works his way to the right side course in that BSB Miata. All right, a 634 light for Chris Cox, 586 for Steve Oblenis, so he chipped away about half of the advantage Chris had from the right side course right there at the start line. And he wiggled a cone, but no hit there, so good on that one. Working way out of that, looks like Steve Oblenis had the advantage coming out of the deep offset and into the slalom. And looks like he's back first, and he is by 3.5 tenths. Steve Oblenis comes back from being behind and takes the win by 3.5 tenths over Chris Cox. So Chris Cox won the first round, but Steve Oblenis came back strong and took it overall. All right, at the line, we get Brian Colson up on the left side with a 31.8 dial-in. On the right side for Mike Nakata, a 32.709. So 1 second advantage for Mason. We're good to go. So about a 2 light advantage there for Mike Nakata in the C Street FRS, running up against Brian Colson in the B Street Chevy Corvette. 600 lights for both, so pretty close to equal at that point. At the top of the course, boy, they're really close. Coming out of the 180, looked like they were about equal. See who gets to the turn-in point first. Looks like Colson had a little bit of advantage and got to the slalom first. As they come out of it, looked like Colson was back first. Yep, by 6.5 tenths. 6.5 tenths lead for Brian Colson over Mike Nakata as he really got going through that last slalom and got out of it really cleanly and got a good shot to the finish line. Nakata leaving the lights a bit too early, 4.55, so 45 thousandths too early on the trigger. Trying to make up that big advantage that he viewed Brian Colson has had. Tried a little too hard. So Brian Colson, your automatic winner, will go to the second round. We'll be matching up against we'll get back to that. All right, coming up to the line now, we'll looks like Stephen Yo on the left side and Justin Tsang on the right. Dial in, Stephen Yo on the left, 32.370. Justin on the right side, 31.709. Starter with go. Shots, pair of sevens here for these two drivers. Stephen Yo coming from STS, Justin Tsang from STX. So both cars on street tires with suspension tweaks. Again, dial-ins about a half a second spread between the two. And we got one cone working on the right side for Justin. So one cone down on the right side. First cone we've heard in a while. Stephen in ahead with a 6.68 lead plus the cone. So a 2.7 second rounded up lead for Stephen Yo after the cone is added in. So Justin tagging a cone. So a 2.7 second advantage for Stephen as he moves to that right side lane. At 880 for Stephen, which you'd expect with a 2.5 second lead, and a 536 for Justin as he's going for it. He's got to hope that he can press enough that Stephen makes makes an error out there, and be ready to capitalize on it time-wise if he does. And into the slalom first. So that pretty much steals it. Stephen back first anyway, 1.7 overall, that is. Justin was actually back first, but caught another cone. So a 3.7 second win for Stephen Yo, who will move on to the next round. Match up against one of these two folks. Jeff Kiesel up on the left side with a 26.909 dial-in. Jonathan Lugod on the right side with a 30.999 dial-in. Starter, good to go. All right, hole shots here, 628 for Jeff Kiesel, 733 for Jonathan. And again, a 4-second spread, the largest we've seen yet between these two cars. Yeah, we got a cone for Kiesel on the left course. But, so one cone down so far for Jeff. All right, one cone for Jeff. Lugod's back first by 0.8 of a second. Jeff Kiesel with a cone, so it makes it a 2.8 second lead for Jonathan Lugod as he moves over to that left side course. Alrighty, 576 reaction for Jeff, 656 for Jonathan. Kiesel is just flying here. He's got to make up 2.8 seconds. Be a lot easier for him if Lugod got a little loose, and he did. Lugod's tagged a cone, so it's down to 0.8 of a second is what he needs, and he's got a whole bunch more than that. All right, so we had offsetting cones. We had to verify the second cone, so Lugod takes it as Kiesel caught a cone as well on the right side. Just barely nudged it, so Lugod takes that win even after tagging a cone. Offsetting cone, so went back to the first round. Jeff Kiesel. All right, up at the line. Right today this round, we've got Andy McKee coming up on the left side of the Grabber Blue Mazda with a 28.302, and Blaine Sparling on the right in the Mustang, 31.390. Starter, we're good to go. And Blaine Sparling, trying to imagine that he was able to do that like a race slick car could or something, ends up way over in the grass, and now just chugging towards the finish. One cone down, and just chugging along. I guess he's not realizing he's got another round to make if he wants, unless he's just going to bail, which appears to be the case. But clocks are still running as Blaine took a little agricultural run out there, and he's just gently cruising to the finish line. So we'll come up and see if he thinks he's done for the day, or if he's going to try to go for it again. There's a 24-second spread between them, plus a cone, so 26-second spread. We'll see if Blaine comes up to the line or not, or if he just, yeah, he's coming up. Alrighty, Andy, knowing how to play this game with a 1.2 second light, he definitely saw the green before he left. A 584 for Blaine, but not sure why after he spun that he just chugged back. Because 24 seconds is, I've seen 12 seconds made up, but 24 is beyond the pale. So, all right, Andy McKee taking that win by 26 seconds. All right, up at the line, we get Charlie Spikesma on the left side, and Doug Miko over on the right side of the Mitsubishi. A 30.999 on the right, 31.709 on the left. Started, we're good to go. Alright, a pair of sevens on hole shots, so pretty close to even there. As these two white cars, all-wheel drives, match up against each other. Spikesman in the STX WRX, Doug in the STU Evo 9. Looks like the left side had a little bit of advantage at the deep offset coming in before the slalom. Up to the finish line, right side's back first. Yep, 45 thousandths for Doug Miko. 45 thousandths advantage on the right side for Doug over Charlie. Alrighty, 601 for Doug on the left, 584 for Charlie on the right. He's trying to make up 45,000, so real close, but so we'll see. Yeah, it looks like he hit it and stood it back up, but it looks like it curled it around the corner. Yep. So definitely out of the box. One down on the right side for Charlie. So Doug with a little bit of breathing room, though he doesn't know that. He just knows about the few thousandths he had last time. Into the finish lights, Charlie with the cone. Charlie would have actually taken it on time, but Doug Miko will take it once the cone is added in. So Doug Miko in the Evo 9 takes that round, but it was on the cone. All right, at the line, we got Mike Einitz up on the left side in the RSX with a 33.126. On the right, Jensen Tang in the Corolla with a 34.393. Started, we're good to go. Alright, a 1.2 second advantage on the tree, but 2/10 of that went away right away as Michael Einitz got a 575 to a 737 reaction time. So FSP up against STF. Top of the 180. Right side had just a little bit of an advantage. The turn-in point, the FSP car is still some advantage, but he's got a cone. Yep, cone down for Jensen on the right side. Left side had the advantage on time by almost 0.3 of a second. Add the 2 seconds to it, comes a rounded off 2.3 second advantage for Michael Einitz moving over to that right side course. Jensen now over on the left side, again down by 2.3. All right, a 611 to a 661. Michael on the right side with that 661, so pretty close to equal there, but it's really that cone that's going to be the difference. And I see a cone, yep, cone on the wall there on the left course for Jensen, so adding to his woes there with another cone. And a second one, so 3 cone total now. Well, 2 cone total on this side. So 2 cones will be added to that for Jensen. So a win by 6.5 seconds for Michael Heinitz in the RSX. So big win there for Michael, as Jensen had some real cone troubles on that round. All right, up in the line we got John Hogan in the Mustang with a 31.390 dial in. Mark Scroggs on the right, the Focus ST with a 32.5. Starter, we're good to go. Yeah, real close on those hole shots. I missed that 5/1000 spread there, both eights, but just 5/1000 apart as they work their way down into the slalom. We got call on something on car 51. Cone down for John Hogan on the left side. Scroggs is back first by 0.3 of a second, but John Hogan will have a cone added to that. So again, a 2.3 second advantage for Mark Scroggs as he moves to that left side. So a 2.3 second lead right now for Mark over the left side. John Hogan on the right now having to make that up. All right, looked like John wanted to leave early and then thought better of it. Mark Scruggs with a 1 second reaction time, given the lead, and now another 2 seconds to that as John Hogan nails a cone there, and that offset going out. So Mark Scruggs has really just got to play nice here and not tag anything, and he's pretty much got this wrapped. Look, and another cone for John Hogan. So big win here for Mark Scroggs, as there'll be, I believe, 2 cones added to John Hogan, so that'll end up being a 5.6 second win for Mark Scroggs. So Mark moving on to round 2. All right, coming up to the line, we're looking at Tom Berry and Tim Bergstrom appear to be coming up. All right, on the left, Tom Berry with a 29.249. On the right, Tim with a 31.390. Starter, we're good to go. All right, 2 second advantage for Tim on that right side of the Mustang over Tom Berry in that Evo 9. 5.67 reaction time for Tom. Great hole shot to a 7.43 for Tim Bergstrom. So right off the bat, Tom Berry. But cone down on the right side for Tim. So digging deeper hole. Looks like he'll be back first, but he's got a cone added to that. He would have been back 0.8 ahead. But with the cone, it becomes a 1.2 second lead for Tom Berry, as Tim did get back first, but nailed a cone in the process. So Tom Berry with a 1.1 second advantage. Even with a 1 second lead, Tom still cutting a 6.05 like Tim Bergstrom with a 7.50, so Tom actually extended the lead. So now it's definitely over 1.2. And I see the workers running, see if there's a cone out of place. Can't quite tell from this distance. Nope, safe there, so cone free so far, coming down in that final maneuvers. Tom Berry takes that one 6.65, so 6/10 advantage. Tim Bergstrom made back half of it. He was actually faster on the course, but that cone came back to haunt him right there at the end. 6/10 win for Tom Berry. All right, up at the line, we got Justin Tang in the Corolla with a 34.393. Max Hader over on the right side in the WRX with a 32.300. Set to go, starter. All right, a 5:02 for Justin Tang. He is not fooling around. A 5:02 light, the quickest we've seen yet in the challenge competition. A 6:11 for Max Hader. Normally, I think that's a pretty good challenge reaction time, but Justin is really trying to make sure he takes every advantage. Deep offset, he's there first in the Corolla. See if he can hold on to it during the slalom and that a little acceleration, John, afterwards. He is back first by 91 thousandths of a second. Justin Tang with a 91 thousandths advantage as he moves over to that right side. Max Hader over to the left. But again, Justin in the Corolla has got a 91 thousandths lead right now. Alrighty, red light start there for Justin, pushing it, well, a little way too hard, 2.26, so went from a 5:02 to a 2.26. He was being, I think he thought that extra 2 thousandths, he could leave a whole bunch earlier and not break out or something, but way early on that, so Max Hader with the automatic win on that as soon as he got the green light. All right, into the finish lights. Max Hader will move on to the second round. Up at the line, we get Dave DeGret on the left side in the Elise with a 29.108. On the right, Shane Jensen with a 33.504. So starter, we're good to go. All right, hole shots. David Agreda, 6.15. Right side, Shane Jensen, 8.29. So David Agreda doing really well on Lotus, trying something different than the Miata that we usually see him in. Coming down into the slalom and through the finish lights. Left side's back first by 12 thousandths of a second. A real close battle here between the Fiesta ST and that Wild Elise, but 12 thousandths separating them right now. So really tight run between those two. Alrighty, 6.72 on the left for Shane to a 5.86. So that's a little under a tenth of a second, but when you're talking about a difference of 12 thousandths, the slightest thing in the run right now, losing. The slightest bobble as they come around. They see the running. I guess they're just checking on it. I don't see it. Obviously down. Into the finish lights. David's back first with an almost a 9/10 win. 9/10 win here for David on that one. 9/10 win for David in the Elise as he really uncorked it on that second run. All right, up the line on the left side. Steve Lau in the GT3 with a 29.546. Ryan Otis up on the right side in the Corvette, 31.085. Starter, we're good to go. All right, a 5.66 for Steve on that left side of the Porsche. Ryan Otis with a 6.68, so a 10th advantage at the start lights for the Porsche. Some of these classic Porsche Vet matchups here. Ryan in the A streetcar, though, he's got, luckily he's got a handicap to work with here, as Steve Lau is in that SSP Porsche. Into the slalom. And we got cone down on the left side for the Porsche. Ryan Otis back first by 0.317, and a cone on the left for Steve Lau. So a 2.3 second lead for Ryan Otis as he moves over to that left side lane. So Ryan Otis with the big advantage right now. All right, again, Ryan with the 2.3 second, didn't let that stop him from cutting a great light of 5.14. When you've got a almost 2.5 second lead is maybe a little unwise, but he's just staying in form. And boy, it looks like he's going to need us. All of a sudden, Steve Lau has got a huge advantage. I'm not sure what happened on course.
Because he left first.
A bobble on Ryan's part, but
the Porsche left first.
We're going to have to rerun that round because Steve got back first, but it shows Ryan actually stretching his lead out. So obviously we had something happen with
Porsche went
the trip.
first. The Porsche went before.
We need to have those two drivers come back up on the same sides. Ryan Otis on the left, Steve Lau on the right. Sorry about that, guys, but again, we're having a little trouble with some trash. So we need to pull back up on the other sides. Alrighty, again, sorry about the rerun here. Ryan Johnson on the left with a 29.5. Right side, Charles. No, wait a minute. Sorry, I got the wrong pair. Showed up. Got the wrong Ryan here. So Lance down to trip it, bring it up, and it brought up the wrong one. Ryan Otis, yeah, that Ryan. Up on the left side, 31.0. Steve on the right with a 29.5. Starter, we're good to go.
That's a good start.
Alrighty, 5.93, so Ryan's staying with it with his fives. 6.27 for Steve Lau, so a bit of an improvement there for him on this one. We'll keep an eye on it here and see if something was amiss, but Ryan looking strong coming out of the 180. He is definitely coming out first as they get to that turn-in point. Porsche's starting to pull ahead, but a cone down on the right side. And so he would have taken it by 2.5 tenths, but the cone undoes that. So Steve Lau had the win, but he tagged a cone doing it. So the win moves over to Ryan Otis, takes the win, and moves on to the second round. So so Steve Lau had done it on time, but unfortunately picked up a cone there in the slalom as he got into the slalom a little off. and caught one of those first two cones in the slalom. All right, up at the line. Now we have Ryan Johnson up there on the right side in the Lotus with a 29.546 on the right. Charles Kim over on the left-hand side with a 30.658. Starter, we're good to go. All righty, hole shots 587 for Charles, 668 for Ryan Johnson. So on the top of the 1 second advantage of the tree, Charles picked up another tenth of a second. Top of the course, Charles still with 2 or 3 car lengths as he starts with that first set of offsets into the deep cut. Comes out of that definitely a couple of car lengths ahead, looking good through the slalom. Down to the finish first. He is back with a 6.61 lead, so 6.5 tenths advantage for Charles Kim as he moves over to that right side. 6.5 tenths advantage for Charles Kim as he now moves over to that right side. Shots here 6.29 on the right, 6.78 left, so not a big difference there, but 6.61 is the big number. That's the advantage after the first round that Charles Kim has in that white Porsche. Ryan Johnson working the left course in that red Lotus Elise. But a cone for Charles, so that changes everything. And it looks like 2 cones possibly for Charles. Yep, 2 cones for Charles on the right-hand side. And Ryan is back first anyway on time. He took it by 42 thousandths, so the cones really were immaterial. Ryan Johnson putting a great second run in and taking the win by 42 thousandths plus the 2 cones. So a win on raw time plus the cones. All right, up at the line. We're having to do a little rework on the course after Charles moved some cones around, so it'll take just a moment. But in the meantime, Josh Salvage up on the left side in his ST Fiesta, or actually a backup Fiesta, a 33.504. Dial in Glenn Hernandez on the right side with a 31.085. And starter, the course, and us are ready. All right, a 5.27 for Josh and a 5.76 for Glenn. Those are 2 of the more aggressive starts we've seen at the same time. So good starts. And then they get to the top of the course. Josh was still holding on to a little advantage he had on the tree, which is about 2.5 seconds, coming from H Street versus A Street. But Glenn looks like he's back first. He is by 2.5 tenths. 2.44 advantage for Glenn Hernandez. 2.44 advantage for Glenn Hernandez as he moves around to that left side. Again, with a 2.5 tenth advantage over Josh Salvage. On a red light for Glenn. 476, 24 thousandths too quick on the trigger there for Glenn. So Josh Salvage will take the win and move to the second round. And this will bring up the beginning of the second round. That's Jeff Stewart on the left, Adrian Cardenas on the right side. Take us just a moment for these guys to finish so we can clear the computer out. A cone on the right for Josh, but kind of academic. But Josh with an automatic win, so it didn't really matter. All right, Jeff Stewart Up on the left side, his first run as he had a bye the first time up. His dial-in is a 30.999. On the right is Adrian Cardenas with a 32.709. So starter, we're good to go. All right, all shots here. Great one for Jeff Stewart. Again, keep in mind, he hasn't run yet in the challenges. 5:61. Reaction time to a 7:43 for Adrian, so effectively a 2/10 advantage right there at the start line for the guy that had a bye on the first round. So he's going at this totally cold from the challenge perspective as they work their way up into the offsets. It looks like Adrian's got a bit of the advantage still from the dial-in, and he will be back first. And he's got an 0.8 advantage, 0.808 advantage for Adrian Cardenas in the Mazda RX-8. So an 0.8 advantage for Adrian as he moves over to that left side course. Jeff Stewart on the right side now, down that 0.8. All right, hole shot 6:42 for Adrian on the left side, 5:99 for Jeff Stewart. Again, Adrian with a big 0.8 advantage right now as he works that left side course. Jeff Stewart really having to go for it now. This is only his second run in challenge competition. And just as I say that, he tags a cone over there on the right side course. So his battle just got a lot harder by tagging a cone on the right side. Into the finish, left side's back first anyway, so a 6:97 win for Adrian Cardenas on time plus the cone. So win for Adrian. He will move on to the third round. All right, up the line, we got Stephen Lennis up on the left side with a 29.847. Brian Coles on the right with a 31.809. Starter, all yours. All right, a 5:59 for Brian Colson. As good as that sounds, Stephen Lennis just got a 5:12 light. So Stephen Lennis really pushing to move to the third round, but it's going to get tougher because he just caught a cone at the big wall going out, and maybe another one in this section right after that. So it looks like two of them down for him. They haven't called the second one. I can see it down, but they haven't seen it yet. So two cones down on the left side for Stephen Lennis. Brian Colson was back first by a 1/10 of a second, plus the two cones. We're still trying to make contact to get him to put the second cone up. So yeah, there's two cones officially now for Steve. So Brian Colson with a 4-second lead right now. All right, another cone, another two cones actually. So he's kind of melting down on this one. Looks like Brian Colson is on his way to a win here, unless he just goes off the deep end. And Brian taking that win by a fair bit after the 4-cone damage by Stephen Lennis. All right, up at the line. Looks like Stephen Yo and Jonathan Lugon. Stephen Yo with a 32.3 dial-in, 30.9 for Jonathan. We're good to go. All right, shot 6.68 for Stephen on the left, 8.40 for Jonathan on the right side. So real leisurely there for Jonathan Lugot on the right side. All right, as they come down through the slalom, looks like Stephen Yo's got the advantage, and he does. He's back first by 0.8 of a second. So an 0.8 lead for Stephen Yo as he moves over to that right side lane. Jonathan Lugot now over to the left side, see if he can make some magic happen over there, make up for that 0.8 deficit. All right, Jonathan Lugot, a 6.48 line to a 7.12 for Stephen Yo. Stephen made a little more leisurely with that 0.8 lead. So now just trying to put a good solid run in and depend on that 0.8. So move their way down into the deep offset. Looks like Lugot had a little bit of advantage coming out of there. Yo's got a little bit to give, but and Stephen takes it. He gives up just a little bit, a 7.5 win for Stephen Yo. So Lugot made back just a few thousandths from that first run. But Stephen Yo will move to the third round. All right, up on the left, Andy McKee in the Grabber Blue RX-7 with a 28.302. Doug Micko on the right side with a 30.9. Starter, we're good to go. All right, hole shot 6.22 on the left, 7.39 on the right for Doug. All right, the turnaround, Doug still got a fair bit of advantage to come down into that deep offset. He's got several car lengths, bought a cone just as he was exiting that section. He tags a cone. So one cone, two cones down on the right side. So 2 cones total for Doug. He was back 0.7 ahead, but 2 cones adds 4 seconds in, and that ends up being a big lead right now for Andy McKee of 3.3 seconds. So a 3.3 second lead for Andy McKee over Doug Micko at the moment. All right, hole shots 5.32 for Doug as he's got to go for it. 1 second for Andy McKee, which is what you'd expect. But 1 cone for Andy, so he just gave away 2 seconds of that 3.3 second lead. So he cannot afford to get too sloppy. All right, offsetting cones for those drivers. So the win by Andy McKee by 2.5 seconds. As he added to the lead a little bit, but offsetting cones on that run. All right, Andy will move to the third round. Up at the line, we got Michael Heinitz up there with the RSX with a 33.1. Mark Scroggs on the right with a 32.5. Starter, we're good to go. Hole shots here, 6.96 on the left for Michael, 8.81 for Mark Scroggs. So Mark being a little bit casual there at the start line. He's got the advantage. No, he doesn't either. Actually, he's down by 0.6 to Michael Heinitz had the 0.6 advantage on dial-in. So as they come down through the first offsets on the return route, pretty close to even going into the slalom. Michael Heinitz takes the lead here by 372, almost 4/10 lead for Michael Heinitz, as he definitely was back first over Mark Scroggs. So Michael will carry that over to the right side lane. Mark Scroggs over to the left. Hope he can make up that 4/10. All right, a 7:05 to a 7:08, so not much difference there. Again, it's .372 advantage for Michael Heinitz in that RSX Acura. Mark Scroggs, your Rookie of the Year last year at the Solo Nationals, making the turnaround. Boy, it's just about synchronized runs here. They look just about equal. Michael Heinitz may have a slight advantage at the deep offset. Oh, a cone and a little bit of a tank slapper going on there for Mark. So Michael Heinitz takes it by 7.5 plus a cone on the left side. So a cone for Mark Scroggs. Michael Heinitz definitely taking that one and moving to round 3. All right, up at the line, we get Tom Berry up on the left side. The Evo on the right side, Max Hader. And the Subaru, 29.2 left, 32.3 right. Starter, we're good to go. A little bit of bog off the line for Tom Berry. Got a 6 light, or a 6:33 light, but bogged pretty badly after that. A 6:18 for Max Hader. See the workers running after Max's pass there, but apparently saw that it only wiggled or something, or maybe the workers just getting out of the way. I'm not sure what it's doing out there, but Max Hader with the advantage on the tree, and it looks like he'll have the advantage at the finish lights by 1.1 seconds. A 1.1 second lead for Max Hader. That's kind of unheard of here going up against Tom Berry. A 1.1 second lead for Max Hader. Tom Berry now over on the right side lane. See if he can make that work for him in the same fashion. Okay, much better start that time for Tom. A 6:34 light, 8:39 for Max Hader, taking a little bit easy there. Be sure he didn't make a mistake. Because again, he's got a 1.1 second lead, but can't afford to get too careful. Max getting to the offset first and into the slalom ahead of Tom, and race to the finish. Left side's back first. Still a 1.1 seconds, so it looked pretty much even that time. The score reflects it. 1.1 is the advantage Max Hader had. That was a dead heat that time, but Max had the big advantage from the first round. So Max will move to the third round. All right, Dave DeGratte up on the left side with a 29.108. On the right, Ryan Otis and the vet with a 31.085. Starter, we're good to go. All right, David with a 6:05 light, a 6:53 for Ryan Otis, and a cone for Dave in the Lotus, working that left side. Those offsets right there in the first station. So one cone working so far on the left side for Dave. Into the finish light's pretty close to equal there. Yeah, 31 thousandths. I'd call that close. But a cone for David, so the advantage swinging to Ryan Otis with a 1.9 second lead now due to that cone. So Ryan Otis with a comfortable lead over on that left side. Just need to stay clean. 684 for Ryan, 613 for Dave, as he knows he's got to go for it. He's down 1.9 seconds. So Dave on that right side, that Elise is really going to be hammering on it. I see the workers moving around a little bit, just positioning themselves for the return route, but going to check on a cone. Heading down into slalom. Looks like Dave will be back first. Eats up about half of it, a little over half actually, a 7/10 win for Ryan Otis, as David really put the hammer down and made up well over half of it, but not quite enough to move to that third round. All right, up at the line, Ryan Johnson up on the left in his Lotus with a 29.5. Josh Salvage on the right, 33.5. Starter, we're good. Okay, a 4-second spread on the dial-in between these two drivers, H Street to SSP. And a cone for Ryan Johnson. I thought he was tucking in a little too soon on that one, but tags a cone on the going out section. So once again, Josh Salvage, the beneficiary of folks being a little too aggressive running against him. Into the slalom. Looks like Josh may even be back first. All right, offsetting cones. So a 573 advantage for Josh. They each had a cone, so offsetting cones. So it comes down to that half-second spread between them. So 573 is the advantage for Josh Salvage. Now moving over to that left side. A 4-second spread, a pair of sixes here on reaction time, and we're down just under 0.6 of a second differential between the two. Josh Salvage on the left and the Focus ST having that advantage. He gets to the top of the course first. Not quite the advantage he had last time, so this could be a lot closer. As he powers his way there, it looks like the left side was back first. It was. In fact, he stretched out a bit. He got a good exit from there, and it's a 0.688 advantage or win for Josh Salvage, almost 7/10. So big win there for Josh. All right, up at the line, we got Adrian Cardenas on the left side of the RX-8, 32.7. Dyslexia there. Brian Colson on the right with a 31.8. Starter, we're good to go. All right, workers running a check on a cone. Don't see anything from here, but fair distance away. Adrian Cardenas with a 700 light to a 681 for Brian, so fairly close there. As they get to the middle part of the course and in the slalom, boy, really close between these two as they power to the finish, right? Looked like it had the advantage. Yeah, 4.5 tenths advantage for Brian Colson. A 4.42 is the lead for Brian Colson as he moves from the right lane to the left. With Adrian Cardenas coming over to the right side, hoping he can find that 4.5 tenths. Shot 684 left, 617 right, so a little advantage there for Adrian. He's trying to make up that 4/10, so he got about half a tenth right there. But he just gave away a cone as Adrian tagged a cone in that first real offset. DNF missing a gate or something out there on the right side. and he's just cruising in knowing that he did that. So Brian Colson, the winner on time anyway. So Brian Colson will move to the next round in the black vet. So Brian Colson, the black vet, will move to the next round. By the way, we were in the third round, so now he's the first placement into the final four. All right, up at the line, we get Stephen Yo and Andy McKee. Stephen on the left with a 32.370. Andy on the right, 28.302. Starter, we're good to go. All shots, pair of 745 to 743, so basically dead even there. Stephen Yo in that STS Civic to that R2 RX-7, so fair bit of difference in prep level between these two cars. And Andy has made up most of the difference, that 4-second difference on the tree as they come down to the finish. Left side's back first. I thought it was close. 66 thousandths spread between them. Stephen Yo with that advantage. 66 thousandths for Stephen Yo as he moves over to the right side lane. Andy McKee going over to the left and hoping he can find that 66 thousandths. Whole shots, 572 for Andy McKee, 631 for Stephen. So he just made up basically the difference right there at the start line. So once again, it's pretty close to dead even between these two as they race their way back from the top of the course to the finish line. Andy McKee gathering them in, going through the slalom, and a cone on the right side. Stephen Yo was back first, or at least, no, he actually wasn't. He lost a few thousandths, 41 thousandths on time, but a cone on the right for Stephen Yo gives the win to Andy McKee. It was only 41 thousandths between them on time, but Andy McKee, the beneficiary of that cone. All right, at the line, we get Michael Heinitz up in the RSX with a 33.1. Max Hader over on the right with a 32.300. Starter, we're good to go. 717 for Max Hader on the right side. Michael Heinitz a bit better with a 573 reaction on that left side. Again, this goes for placing the third person in the final four. One of these two drivers will be in the final four as they get to the top of the course. Left side still holding on to some of the advantage he had on the tree, which is about a second. Coming down in that deep offset, still holding on to a car length or so. Coming through the slalom and racing to the finish line. The left side will be back first by 6.5 tenths. So Michael Heinitz with the advantage going to the other side. 0.643. 643 is the spread. Max Hader now moving over to that left side. See if he can find that 6.5 tenths. Alright, pair of sixes here on reaction time, so not much difference there. Again, still comes down to that 643 advantage that Michael Heinitz on the right side has as they work their way down to the far end of the course. About a 1 second difference on the dial-in. So Heinitz with that advantage. Looks like Max Hader is about equal this time. Last time he was down a couple of car lengths at that point. But a cone over on the left side. So Heinitz took it on time anyway by 2.5 tenths, but Hader tags a cone just to add on top of that. So Michael Heinitz will make it to the final four in his RSX by a couple of tenths plus the cone. All right, up the line, we get Ryan Otis up on the left side in the Corvette at 831.085. Josh Salvage over on the right side at 33.504 in the Fiesta. Starter, we're good to go. .648 for Josh, 748, excuse me, to a 648 for Ryan Otis. So Ryan with a 1/10 advantage at the start lights. Josh still holding on to the bit advantage he has on the tree, coming down into that slalom at the last cone. Josh got there first, but Ryan accelerated away and got a 46 thousandths lead at the finish line. A 46 thousandths lead for Ryan Otis. Now moving over to that right side. Josh Salvage trying to make that up over on the left. Again, they were real equal as they came away from the final cone of the slalom, but that little blast of acceleration gave Ryan Otis the advantage. All right, hole shots 744 for Josh again versus a 567 for Ryan. So that's not how you go about doing it. Losing 2/10 right there at the start line when you're down by 46 thousandths. So 2.5 tenths lead effectively right now for Ryan Otis as they work their way to that deep offset. Pretty close to equal. Looks like Ryan will have it. Yep, he stretches it out to 4/10 and takes the win. Ryan Otis will be your fourth driver in the final four, eliminating Josh Salvage in the Fiesta. So your final four is going to be Brian Colson in a Corvette against Andy McKee in the RX-7. Then Michael Heinitz in the Acura up against Ryan Otis in another Corvette. So two Corvettes, an RX-7, and an Acura RSX in the final four, which gets going right now with Andy McKee coming up on the right side. 28.302 dial in versus Brian Colson's 31.809 dial in. Starter, they're all yours. Alright, at 779 for Brian Colson, at 604 for Andy McKee. That's the way to start things out with that kind of advantage at the start lights. Again, we are in the first pair in the final four. One of these drivers will go to the top eliminator round, the other to the runoff round. And a cone on Andy McKee down there at the far end. Alrighty, into the finish lights. Andy back first by 9/10 of a second, but he picked up a cone down there at station 5, so it becomes a 1.1 second lead for Brian Colson as he moves over to that right side lane. So Brian over there with a 1.1 second lead, Andy McKee on the left trying to make up for that mistake. Alright, as they leave the line, a 662 on the left, 644 on the right, so pretty close to equal there. Brian Colson with that 1 second lead, but keep in mind, Andy McKee was leading by over 9/10 of a second, and just seeing the left side gets another cone for Andy McKee. Well, at least he's running to it. Nope, safe, so no cone there for Andy. Brian takes it by a half a second. Andy McKee made up a lot of the time, but needed another half second. So Brian Colson will go to the top eliminator round. Andy McKee to the runoff round. So Brian will be looking to match up against one of these two guys. Michael Heinitz on the left with a 33.126. Ryan Otis on the right with a 31.085. Starter, they're all yours. All shot 632 on the left, 589 on the right for Ryan Otis. Ryan with a slight advantage there. Reminder, we're looking for our previous challenge winners to come around to the trailer after we're finished with things. That's Christine Grice and Micah McElvray. Bring your cars, if you haven't loaded them up yet, over to the whatever side that is, I guess the north side of the trailer. All right, into the finish lights. Michael Heinitz in with 2.5 tenths lead here over Ryan Otis as they swap sides. So a 2.5 tenths advantage for Michael Heinitz over Ryan Otis. Alrighty, Ryan Otis with a 604 to a 675 for Michael. Michael with a 2.5 tenths lead from that first round. So the pressure on Ryan Otis to make that up and get to the top of the course, pretty close to equal at that point. So one would think that Ryan would have the advantage at this point, but Michael Heinitz has got that RSX really working well. They come down through the slalom and accelerate to the finish. Michael Heinitz takes it by 1.5 tenths. Ryan Otis made up 1/10 of it, but not quite enough. Michael Heinitz with a 1.5 tenths lead or win for Michael Heinitz. He will go on to the top eliminator round up against Brian Colson. So Andy McKee will match up against Ryan Otis. So Andy McKee gets to see another black Corvette in the runoff round. So once again, we will have awards presentation, and over on the, I guess you'll call it the inland side of the trailer, which is slightly less windy. We'd appreciate any rigs that are around that are hooked up, ready to go. Are going to be awards to pull up and partially block the wind if you could. We're looking for Christine Grice and Micah on the shady side of the trailer so that we can have our challenge competition winners all here, including either Brian Colson or Michael Heinitz. So that'll be the third car and driver joining us in the awards presentation. Right now we're waiting any moment here for Andy McKee and Ryan Otis to come up whenever they are ready. Andy McKee's got a 28.302 dial in. Ryan Otis a 31.085. So starter whenever they're set. We are set inside. Alrighty, up in the line, Andy McKee on the left, 28.3. Ryan Otis on the right, 31.0. We are good to go. So a 560 light for Andy McKee, but a serious bog right after that. So effectively, that was not a particularly good start. He had a 10th advantage on reaction time, but I think when we look at 60-foot times, that will not look good for Andy McKee. So they work their way up through. Otis still with the lead. But he caught up with him pretty good. A 10th of a second separating, a 109 advantage for Ryan Otis right now. 109. Alrighty, all shots here, 663 on the left, 723 for Andy. Actually got away better though on that one with no bog. So again, only a 10th of a second separating them. So this is still up for grabs. I see the workers running after Andy. See him. So Andy looks like he's pulled ahead going into the slalom. He only needs a 10th of a second to take third spot. Looks like he's got it to me. Yeah, a half a second win for Andy McKee. Comes alive on that last run and takes the win. So Andy McKee will be third place overall, Ryan fourth. All right, to determine who's the top spot, your top eliminator round up now. Brian Colson from B Street up on the left with a 31.809 dial in. Michael Heinitz on the right with a 33.126. Starter, we're good to go. Got a 6:17 on the right to a 6:03 on the left, so real close on reaction time. These two drivers trying to determine who's the overall winner here at Crow's Landing as part of the Tire Rack Pro Solo Series Championship. And a cone for Michael Heinitz on the right side. One cone so far for him. Yep, I can see him picking up now. One cone for Michael on the right side. See if Brian can stay clean coming down into the final chute. Michael's back first by 0.4 of a second, but with the cone, it becomes a 1.6 second lead for Brian Colson. Brian Colson with the lead. Heinitz did it 0.4 quicker, but unfortunately could not do it cleanly, as Brian Colson will move over to the right lane with a 1.6 second lead. All right, a 6:06 for Brian. Still a pretty aggressive start when you got a 1.5 second lead. 5:47 for Michael Heinitz as he is going for it. Hoping that he can push enough that Brian Colson makes a mistake, because he knows on time he was a half a second quicker. Last run of the weekend here at Crow's Landing. Who will be the top eliminator, the champion of the Crow's Landing Pro Solo? Into the lights, into the slalom for the final time. Colson with the advantage, it looks like. And Colson is back first. 1.9 second win for Brian Colson, who takes the win. Michael would have had it on time, but the cone came back to haunt him. So Brian Colson, your overall winner here in the Super Challenge. So we're looking for Brian Colson, Christine Grice, and Micah McElvray. So if you could bring your cars around to the shady side of the trailer, we're going to do awards presentation over there. So